match goes down!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ProGameX WoW Arena May 2014 tournament. Day 2. We got a lot of games we went through yesterday. Got a lot of games to get through today. But first, my name is Lore, and I am here with my good buddy Super Tease. How's it going?
I am doing well, Lore. I'm very excited to start off the day here. We're going to be starting off in, of course, our losers bracket. We have already decided that the team Blue Laguna will be competing in the grand finals guaranteed. They've locked themselves that spot, being absolutely flawless throughout the tournament, not dropping a single game thus far.
Yep. In fact, let's actually take a look through the brackets and see what, just sort of go over everything that happened yesterday. So, like you said, Blue Laguna is in the finals. They haven't dropped a single game up until this point. They've just been playing absolutely flawlessly, looking really, really good. And that, of course, means that they are also already in the money. There's a total of 1,800 euros in the prize pool, which, for American viewers, that's just under 2,500 American dollars. First place gets 900 euros, which is a little over $1,200. Second gets 600 euro, which is a little over 800, and third place gets 300 euro, which is a little over $400. So Blue Laguna is already guaranteed at least 600 euro, but if they win in the finals, they will get that 900 euro prize. Waiting for Dampening is our first. That's who they defeated in the winner bracket semifinals. They will be in the losers bracket semifinals. Excuse me, the lower bracket semifinals. They're also already in the money. They're guaranteed at least 300 euro for coming in third place. But if they can get back into the finals, then they can get at least 600 for second or the 900 for first. Looking at who else we've got so far. Blind This All and Last WMD are the two teams that have been eliminated at this point. Last WMD unfortunately ran into some issues and had to bow out of the tournament. Blind This All played incredibly well in the prelims last weekend, and they put up a good fight against Say GG Please, but unfortunately were not able to secure the win there. So they're now out of the tournament. Say GG Please is going to move on to face haxan cleave in the lower bracket round 2. And Welcome to EU will be facing off against Holinka Plays Lock Shaman as well.
Yep. We're going to be starting off with that matchup of the haxan cleave, of course, playing the WLS against Say GG Please, playing that Shatter play. Say GG Please consisting of Wizardo and Shadow Priest, Trees on Resto Druid, Rainy on that Frost Mage, and haxan cleave consisting of Dogfish on that Affliction Warlock, haxan Tutu on the Arms Warrior, and Tebow X on the Restoration Shaman. As it stands right now, we're still waiting for one of our teams to prepare to get going. So I think maybe we should be talking about who do you think has the greatest fighting chance in this tournament right now, Lore?
Well, obviously, like Blue Lagoon is doing incredibly well, so that's an obvious pick. But looking elsewhere, I was actually really impressed with how Say GG Please like turned around in the matches against Blind This All yesterday. In the first match, they were just like super disorganized all over the place. They were having trouble like overlapping CC, not really like communicating well in their own cooldowns. But in the second game, they just like suddenly, I don't know, it was like they switched back on and they were like, oh, okay, we're actually just going to do everything flawlessly now. And they were able to take some really, really good games in those matches. So Say GG Please, I feel, has a good chance. Waiting for Dampening has been playing incredibly well. They've only lost to Blue Laguna. So I feel like I wouldn't be surprised to see Waiting for Dampening make it back into the finals in the after winning the lower bracket semifinals. But who knows? We haven't seen quite as many games out of some of these teams that are in the lower bracket at this point. So it's kind of a hard call to make.
I definitely think one of the bigger upsets in this tournament was Waiting for Dampening going up against Welcome to EU. They're able to take that series pretty convincingly, showing how powerful their opener can be when they get it
Hmm.
executed flawlessly. So you can't count them out. I definitely can't count them out. I think they have the opportunity if they can polish their blades and fine tune their spells and play perfectly. I feel like they could definitely take this tournament. They've proven that they're completely capable of it at least.
Yeah, for sure.
As I'm saying right now, one team is prepared to go. I'm still speaking to the other, and we'll be starting as soon as possible to avoid as much downtime as we can.
Hmm. Yeah, we're trying to bring games as quickly as possible. It's just a matter of making sure everyone's ready to go because you wouldn't want to start a game. Like we want to make sure everybody is completely. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you wouldn't want to lose a game as one of these teams because someone wasn't quite set up right. Like maybe they misplaced a gem or something, or they forgot an enchant, and you feel like even if that doesn't necessarily contribute to why you lost, like okay, sure, maybe I missed, I don't know, 50 mastery or somewhere or something. That probably isn't going to lose you the game, but it still feels kind of crappy afterwards. So we want to make sure absolutely everybody is as prepared as possible before we get into these matches.
Yep. Unfortunately, Haxan is telling me he's having some issues, so we're gonna have to wait for those to resolve or get further notice from him.
Okay.
Um, as it stands right now, something we learned yesterday was that dampening will be starting at the 5 minute interval as opposed to the 10 minute interval, which is more standard on laddered play. Um, that way, this tournament is in line with BlizzCon level of dampening application. That's a weird way of saying it, but that's how I chose to say it. So dampening starting at 5 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes in the matchup that we're going to be seeing first, a Shatter Play versus WLS. Definitely something I could expect to see going long and potentially be the first game where that could be a deciding factor.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely. We saw it came as a little bit of a surprise yesterday. We weren't completely aware that it was going to happen, but we saw teams sort of adapting to it, and it was actually kind of cool in that you just start to see them just being a little bit more aggressive at the start. And being a little bit more careful with their cooldowns, knowing that because it does sort of mess with your cooldown timings a lot, having dampening come in at 5 minutes because, like we were saying yesterday, if you ice block at, I don't know, 4 minutes in on the ladder, that's totally fine. You're going to have it back at like 7 minutes. But if you do it now with 5 minute dampening, you might not have that available once dampening starts to stack up. And in fact, we haven't really seen much of any games go longer than about 8 minutes, if I remember correctly. The longest one I can remember was about 7.5 minutes when it actually finished up. So
Yeah.
it's actually interesting because it also means that a lot of these games dampening really hasn't, even with the 5 minute dampening, these guys have not been waiting for it at all. Like they've just been going all out from the get go, and it's made some really, really exciting matches.
Yeah, and maybe to point out something that might be a little bit more minor on the tournament realm, obviously you can create not as many characters as you want, but you could have multiple characters or have multiple gear sets because you have everything available to you in unlimited quantities. What I was noticing was even from Minpoike and more noticeably Blue Laguna's team, the healers were gemming stamina. They had incredible large amounts of health,
Yeah.
around over 700,000 each, and that was to live through the rogue mage stun lockdown so that they had enough health to survive it, then they can recover from it. It didn't seem to work out for Minpoike necessarily, I think, in the last series, but it was definitely noticeable for Blue Laguna. And I'm kind of wondering in the WLS versus Shatterplay matchup if we're going to see that from Tebow, who's playing the Resto Shaman. Because I really expect that he's going to be the main focus target for a Shadow Priest and a Mage, but maybe if he positions well enough, he's not going to be open to that kind of a swap. But I feel like tunneling the blue is a really good option for the shatter play.
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely a point I remember in, I believe it was the Blue Laguna versus Waiting for Dampening matches. There was a point where Looney's health almost broke like a million right after Ancestral, was it I cannot remember the name of that ability ever. Nature's Guardian, there we go. Right after Nature's Guardian procced, and he of course had all the Ancestral Fortitude stacked up on himself. He had almost a million health, which is just kind of nuts.
Yeah, It's pretty insane when you're playing Rogue Mage, you stun a healer, he's got 800,000 health. You dip him below 30%, now he's got 900,000 health. He Battle Masters, now he's got 995,000 health, and you're just sitting there like, how do I kill that?
Yeah, there were a lot of points where like I'm watching it and we're going, oh my god, he's in so much trouble. Right, never mind, he's got 400,000 health still.
Yeah,
Like,
it's one of those things where if you play with percentages, you're
yeah,
like, oh, he's at 43%, but in reality, that's
that's almost as much health as you have at 100%.
yeah. So people have been adapting, I think, pretty well to the tournament setting. I am being told that the WLS is now ready.
Sweet.
So I'm just going to get the party leader and queue us up immediately as soon as I can.
Cool.
And we should be jumping into the first match, which will be on the Grand Arena, of course.
Yep, this is going to be Say GG Please, which is the Shatterplay comp. It's Wizardo, Trees, and Rainy going up against Haxan Cleave, which is Haxan, Tebow, and Dogfish playing a WLS comp. So going to be an exciting matchup to watch. I really love watching a Shatterplay, like, just because it's, like, to me, it's just a slightly more, how do I put this? I cannot think of a good way to put this thought that I'm trying to make, so I'm just going to give up on that one and move on to another one. It's just definitely, it's just fun to watch for me. Like, they have the option to be defensive, but they can go offensive in a hurry. They have a little bit more control over their burst than like an LSD. So it's definitely fun to watch. And WLS is also really interesting. I just like watching Warriors play, but it looks like the match is now active. I'm going to make sure that our teams are set up here, and we will get right into this.
And this will be the first series of the day. We're going to be watching Haxan Cleave, the WLS, going up against Say GG Play. Oh my God, Say GG Please on the Shatterplay. It's definitely an interesting matchup. It's going to be a lot of attention is going to be put on positioning for the WLS. I feel if anyone kind of overextends, pushes their boundaries, they open themselves to death against the Shadow Priest and a Mage, as well as the crowd control available from trees. So this WLS is going to be, they have to keep their pressure going, but they've got to be careful that they don't overextend, get overconfident in their pressure, because I feel like this Shadow Priest could definitely turn it around.
Yeah, definitely. So once we are available here, apologies, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my keybinds, but we're about to start. I'm going to be following Haxan out of the gate just to see if they're going to be too offensive or not. Nope, looks like they're going to sit back here a little bit, get that gateway up, and get ready to make some aggression, being a little bit more passive than we've seen in the past. Wizardo starting to take a little bit of damage, just getting a couple of dots up, and otherwise just hanging back here by his pillar and playing very, very safe. This is actually the most passive opener I think we've seen so far in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams kind of not willing to give that defender's advantage. Nobody really wants to infiltrate the opponent's pillar right now. But Haxan taking the initiative now. He's pushing in. He's going to be connecting onto Wizardo here, putting trees into a full storm bolt, into a shockwave, but the silence onto Tebow. So he's not gonna be able to heal right now. But Demon Soul coming out. There's the deep freeze onto Haxan. He's kind of overextended right now. He's taking a significant amount of damage, but he's able to tank that deep freeze. He's going to be okay, and he's going to reconnect onto Wizardo here, I believe. So he's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. There's full dots on the entire Shatterplay right now. But a Poly onto Tebow, a clone onto Haxan, Dogfish getting Imp CS. The Devouring Plague is on him. He's definitely the target of choice for the Shatterplay. He's dipping to about 250,000 health. Haxan Cleave trying to reconnect to his target, but he's getting locked down by trees right now. The Hex going onto Rainy Fish, a Death Coil onto trees. Trees getting swapped to here. Haxan popping the Recklessness. He's going to be doing a lot of damage. Wizardo in a fear. He's not going to be able to off-heal him. Trees needs to get out of here. 100k HP right now. He's going to have to block. He gets the block off, luckily. Dogfish in a Poly.
Yeah, definitely very scary there for a second. I was a little bit worried, but he did get that block off. Does get a fear onto Wizardo, but it looks like he's going to be able to start to recover here a little bit. Still taking a ton of damage, trying to get a Cyclone out. Doesn't look like he was able to cast it. But yeah, Rainy now taking a whole bunch of damage, actually dipping really low, getting down under 200k. And like Haxan Cleave is looking fine. Say GG Please is in a terrible position. They're all so low at the moment. They can get back up there. As a polymorph comes out on Haxan, that'll slow down the damage a little bit and hopefully give trees some time to help recover.
Yeah, a really nice Heart of the Wild Tranquility by Trees there. It's going to top his team off, and he gets a nice Disorienting Roar clone on Haxan with a silence on a T-Bow. Dogfish is completely alone. He's in that Deep Freeze. He has the Earth Shield. T-Bow's is gonna blow the Spirit Walker's Grace, but he gets cloned on it. Dogfish is completely alone here. He gets the Intervene from Haxan. He should be okay to be able to line up here. T-Bow should be able to connect to him, but Haxan just sitting all of these Novas. He's not really able to connect. Wizardo is his target of choice. Trees into that full Fear. T-Bow into a DR Polymorph, into a Fear out of that on his Ascendants, an MCS on a Dogfish. T-Bow choosing not to tremor this. He's only about 2 seconds into the Fear. Dogfish completely alone here, though. Wizardo just trying to run away into the middle of the map here. He's trying to kite Haxan into a position where they can swap to him, I believe. But Rainy Fish is taking a lot of damage. So is Wizardo. Trees as well. They're definitely in an uncomfortable position as far as health, but Tree's doing really well on mana as well as T-Bow. Haxan just trying to do his best to connect. Rainy has full icicles right now, so if he chooses to deep Haxan back here, it'd be a great idea, but T-Bow's get the wind walk down, so he's not gonna be able to Frost Nova. T-Bow into a Fear and a Silence. He can't tremor that as a result. He's getting deeped. They're gonna swap on a T-Bow. Nice safeguard from Haxan. It's gonna give him that 25% damage reduction, but is it enough? Another MCS, 200,000 HP. He's gonna unleash. He's gonna pop the Battle Master. He's still taking a lot. He's put into the Disorienting Roar. A full clone onto Dogfish. He's gonna unbound will that. He's gonna pop his Demon Soul. He's gonna get the damage rolling back onto the Shatter Play. A Polymorph onto Haxan though. Double Shockwave landed onto Wizardo and Rainy Fish. The Siphon's gonna be going down. T-Bow's doing a good job just staying back here, but he gets Poly'd. He's stuck in that. Dogfish is alone. He's taking quite a bit of damage. Trees into a reflected clone. Nice reflect from Haxan. Wizardo coming out of Fear, but Rainy taking so much damage, dipping to about 130,000 HP. He's getting the Shadow Priest heals. Will Trees be able to pick him up? He doesn't have a lot of cooldowns left. 200,000 HP. There's just no crowd control though. Haxan into the Disorient. He's gonna get Poly'd off of that. T-Bow just not able to dispel Haxan right now. He's stuck behind the pillar on top of Rainy. I feel really uncomfortable for this God comp right now, but they're definitely taking control of Haxan.
Yeah, I believe that Rainy still has both of his ice blocks, and he is actually now popping that Alter Time, trying to put out a whole bunch of damage here. I like the blink play there, blinking around behind, then being able to come back with that. But Dogfish taking a whole ton of damage as a result of it. He's going to have to pop the Dark Regen. Looks like he's probably going to be mostly okay for the moment hiding behind this pillar, but is still taking a whole lot of damage back here. Howl of Terror comes out onto Rainy, which will slow that damage down a little bit, but he's still taking a whole bunch, trying to get his dots back out there. There's a clone onto Haxan, into a Root, into a Fear. Looks like he's going to break all of that. Still has his Trinket available, though. And things are starting to stabilize again here a little bit, but I feel like things could explode at any moment. Dogfish is going to actually port behind this pillar and try to get a little bit of health back here. MCS onto him now as well. He's just running around, basically trying to... It feels like he's just trying to play defensively at this moment, just trying to get out of line of sight, keep his dots up so they can keep that pressure going, because they've kept SageGG Please under such pressure this whole game. But he also wants to be able to recover a little bit, make sure that his Resto Shaman can heal him back up.
Haxan getting locked down there on his recklessness. The deep freeze into Polymorph into Cyclone. Dogfish popping Demon Soul, but his healer's in a full poly. The poly does break the damage, but he's going to be put into the Disorienting Roar. And MCS on a Dogfish. He's taking a lot of damage here, around 300,000 HP. He's probably going to have to gate out here if he has it available. Yes, he will. He's on the other side of the map now, just recovering, but he's kind of left T-Bow in the dust. He's going to gate. He's going to catch up to Dogfish. He's going to get a new pet out there as well. Wizardo in the Stormbolt, though, he's taking a lot of damage in that stun as a result. But there's no CC onto Trees. Trees using that NS heal. He's trying to pick him up. Haxan just not able to connect necessarily right now. He's getting Nova'd quite a lot. Wizardo dipping incredibly low. He's also low on mana. Rainy really needs to try and turn this around. He's going to a deep freeze onto Haxan and MCS on the T-Bow into a full clone. He might just go down. He goes down. He doesn't get the rallying cry off. And Rainy's Fish Shatter Play is going to take the first game.
Yeah, wow, such a turnaround too. Like early on in that match, SageGG Please was not looking like they were in a great shape at all, but they were able to recover from it, live through all that pressure that Haxan Cleave was putting out, and turn it around and just eventually say, you know what, now is the time. We're just going to kill you now. So a fantastic game there. First game from SageGG Please. They really, that's sort of been the story of that team so far in this tournament, is they have kind of a rocky start, and then all of a sudden they just sort of realize, okay, we can actually just kill these guys.
Yeah. I do have a map choice from the WLS already. They want Dalaran Arena. So I'll just be queuing them up again here in a second.
Okay.
I definitely think it's actually a pretty... I wouldn't have expected that. I would have expected Tolvaron or something, just for the longer gateway distance. Definitely seems strange for the WLS to be picking such a close quarter map. Maybe they want to be trying to tunnel trees the rest of the Druid a little bit more. That's what it says to me when they pick a map like this, is that they're going to be playing a little bit more all in, but that's very risky. This is the last game for them if they do lose. They will be out of the tournament.
Yeah, this is the elimination match here for haxan cleave. They need to be able to turn this around and bring it back in. We're going to jump directly into this game just as soon as it finishes loading up here. There we go. And so that does put Say GG Please up 1-0 versus haxan cleave.
Yep. Definitely, again, like I was saying earlier, the map choice seems strange to me for a Warlock and a Resto Shaman team to pick a close quarter, very limited gateway usage map. Because that gateway played a pretty big factor on the Grand. Dogfish dipping incredibly low a lot, and that gateway saved his life, so that's basically not available to him on this map. At the same time, Trees is not going to have a lot of places to hide either. And of course, they have no Tremor Totem, so those Howl of Terrors behind the boxes on 3 players is going to be really critical, so maybe they're relying on Dogfish's ability on that Warlock to land that, but we're going to be starting the next match here in 3, 2, 1. Let's see how reckless haxan decides to be here. Of course, the invis coming out from Rainy. Let's see if he's going to try to get a poly out of this. He didn't really seem to get anything going in the opener. He played very passive, so we're going to have to see if they're going to do that again. It does look like they're going to be doing that. They're just staying back. They're going to counterspell Wizardo right there. Not going to let him generate any shadow orbs whatsoever to begin with. They get the long gateway box to box, which is really important. haxan going to connect to Rainy here. Demon Soul coming out immediately from Dogfish. An incredible amount of damage possibly on a Rainy Fish as well as Wizardo. Spell reflecting that VT Trees into a full storm, but they're going to swap up onto Trees. I believe he's taking quite a lot of damage. He's going to have to NS heal. He's got that Heart of the Wild up for the 25% more healing. A deep freeze onto Dogfish. It didn't really accomplish much though. Tebow wasn't CC'd, but the entire Shatter play is rotting. Nice cap totem onto Wizardo. He's going to trinket that. A full fear onto Trees though. That Heart of the Wild definitely benefiting his healing a lot here. Dogfish into a poly. They're really just trying to fear or CC the WLS and recover because they're taking so much damage. While Rainy starts to generate a lot of icicles right now. Dogfish into a full clone out of the poly. So he's really just not getting a lot of dots rolling at this point in time because of it.
Yeah, it looks like haxan cleave is playing this about like they were last time and just trying to keep up as much pressure as they can on Say GG Please, but Say GG is doing a good job of sort of countering that, and both teams are staying pretty high on health at the moment. Nobody's looking in like they're in too much trouble. As a clone went out on Dogfish there, but nothing really came of it. And Tree's starting to take a little bit of damage as well, but he's just hiding back here behind the boxes. He looks pretty fine for the moment. Does take a bunch of damage. He's going to have to put up the bark skin and try to get back down here out of line of sight. Tries to get a Cyclone off. Doesn't look like it went off on anybody. He had to cancel cast that. But otherwise, things are looking relatively stable again. But as we saw in the last game, it can get scary really, really fast. Actually, a charge coming in now onto Trees. He's taking a whole lot of damage, getting really low. He's in the Mortal Coil. He's going to come out of that. Looks like he had to pop his NS there or something. Yes, in fact, he did. And use the trinket as well. But unfortunately for him, now he's feared. He has no trinket. He has no way to break out of that. He's going to try and get out. Okay, there's the Displacer Beast. He's going to get over here out of line of sight. Rainy now taking a whole bunch of damage instead.
Yeah, haxan there had to blow his shield wall on the Frozen Orb, so he's not going to have that defensive cooldown available to him. Nice Storm Bolt onto Trees. Let's see if he's going to be able to connect here. He's getting polymorphed and Nova quite a lot. He's not able to connect to Trees. It definitely feels like that's what haxan wants to kill is Trees. He's kind of just mitigating the damage as he can by sitting on Wizardo or Rainy Fish. Polymorph's kind of being thrown around here, just trying to peel and recover a bit. A full clone onto Dogfish. He's going to unbound Will out of that. Devouring Plague onto haxan there. Again, he has no shield wall available. A polymorph and Disorienting Roar onto Tebow. An MCS onto Dogfish. Will they be able to get anything done, though? It doesn't seem like they will just yet. haxan just behind the pillar right now. He's deep frozen. It possibly could go down here. Counterspell on the Tebow. I believe he got locked out into a full Cyclone. Spell Reflect going up. He's trying to stay alive desperately here. A Fear on the Dogfish. Will he be able to stay alive? He's just staying in D-stance. He doesn't have that wall available, but Tree's taking a lot of damage as well. Just going back and forth between these two players. haxan has a Devouring Plague on him now. Dogfish into the full Cyclone, but Rainy doing a good job just pulling out here. They're going to switch sides. haxan just instantly reconnecting to Trees, though. He's going to have to blow the Iron Bark and Sonaring Ward, immediately realizing that haxan's going to switch over to Rainy Fish, but he's going to get full cloned.
Yeah, I believe that was intended to be an offensive clone there. As coming out of that, yeah, there's the deep freeze. There was a silence onto Tebow. It looks like he broke out of that. Now into a fear. He does have his trinket available. He's choosing not to use it. He uses the tremor totem instead. There's a full poly onto Tebow, but Haxan's health is now much more stable, so it feels like he can just sit that out. Meanwhile, Lizardo taking a whole bunch of damage. And in fact, the whole Say GG Please team is taking a bunch of damage at this particular moment in time. They're all sitting at around half health. Lizardo seems to be taking the brunt of it. He's going to run over here, sit in this healing circle and try to get a little bit more damage out. And things are starting to stabilize a little bit yet again. No trinkets, or excuse me, all trinkets are available on Haxan Cleave. None were used in that. Only Trees' trinket is available on Say GG Please. So I feel like Haxan is in, well, he's actually in a deep freeze right now. So Haxan Cleave's team is in a good shape though, as they can be able to survive through those cyclones and so on.
Yeah, but Haxan in quite a bit of trouble here. Full poly onto Tebow. He doesn't want to trinket it, but Haxan dipping incredibly low. 200,000 HP right now. Tebow into the half poly on his Aura Mastery heals, but Trees as well taking a lot of damage. An NS clone onto Tebow though. Haxan might just go down again. Will he get the rallying cry off? I believe he gets it off, but he's still incredibly low. A fear onto Wizardo. Good peeling from Dogfish, but Dogfish in the full poly. The rallying cry is going to fall. Tebow's going to trinket there. Will he be able to get the link off though? There's a lot of pressure onto Haxan. At the same time, Deep Freeze onto Tebow. The Frozen Orb comes out. Devouring Plague onto Haxan and MCS onto Tebow. He's taking so much damage, but Trees in a full fear. Will he be able to survive here? The Spirit Link coming out. The Demon Soul coming out from Dogfish. The Sovereignty Roar onto Tebow. Just trying to keep the crowd control going, but I think the Spirit Link is going to maintain the WLS for now. Wizardo realizing that he's trying to peel out. Rainey actually ice blocks something in the midst of that, I guess, offensively. But Tebow into the full fear there. He doesn't have Tremor available, but as I say that, Rainey's taking an incredible amount of damage, and Trees into the Shockwave. He doesn't have a block available to him. He's going to have to trinket. A Death Blow to Trees. He has no block available. Okay, just coming out of hypothermia within seconds there. He's going to block a 70 HP. As I say that, Haxan dipping to about 70,000 HP. Tebow into full clone 40,000, 50,000. Will he go down? 30,000. He has nothing left in the tank. 100,000. Tebow out of crowd control now. He should be able to pick him up. Rainey just not able to connect there with the Ice Lances.
Wow, that was so close there. Tebow just barely coming out of crowd control in time to top Haxan back off again, and now looking in much better shape. Rainey taking a whole bunch of damage again over here. It seems like Rainey has now become their target of choice to an extent. Trees still, every once in a while they'll switch to him, but Rainey, it feels like now that he's used both ice blocks, he's going to be in a lot tougher of a position. Wizardo taking a little bit of damage now as well, but both teams are now just sort of pulling back, hiding behind their respective boxes. Looks like Haxan's team's going to come in here and see what they're able to do. Going on to Wizardo for the moment. There's a Halaterra out onto Trees, but that gets broken pretty. Looks like he actually trinketed that. Wizardo taking a bunch of damage. No trinket now available for Trees. Dogfish in a clone. Wizardo at half health. Looking like he's in a dangerous position, but he may still be able to get out of this just fine.
Yeah, the Shatter Play definitely seems uncomfortable right now. Death Blow onto Trees, Rainey taking a lot of damage as well as Wizardo. Haxan's connecting really well here. Colossal Smash going up onto Rainy Fish. He's going to be taking a lot of damage. A Fear onto Wizardo. He's dipping to about half HP, but there's no crowd control in Trees at the moment right now. But the Heart of the Wild coming up again. So we must be into dampening at this point. Yes, we're almost at 7 minutes in. The Heart of the Wild, Tranquility on the bottom. An excellent use of that to heal through the AoE damage from the WLS. Rainey just spending the time here to build up his Icicles for that burst opportunity when his Deep Freeze comes up in 3 seconds. So we're going to have to see what he can get done with that. But the Demon Soul coming out from Dogfish, he's trying to turn it around. He's going to get full dots onto the entire Shatterplay right now. Full Stormbolt onto Wizardo, though, going to be locking his damage down. We're going to have to see what Rainey can do here. The Deep Freeze is available. The Icy Veins coming up in 3 seconds. He does lock Tebow out. A Deep Freeze onto Haxan. He's taking a lot of damage to be about half HP. He has Wall available if he can get it up. Grounding Totem coming down. But the triple Shockwave landed onto Wizardo and Rainy Fish. A full Fear onto Trees. Just so much damage on Haxan. A full poly onto Dogfish and a clone onto Tebow. Tebow going to trinket the Fear. He's trying to save his partner desperately. He gets Disoriented Roar into a full poly though. Haxan's completely alone. He has the Die by the Sword just fading now. Devouring Plague going up, but a nice Fear onto Rainy Fish, peeling all of the damage from the mage there. He's going to ice block that. He wants to go for the kill. The Rallying Cry is up. Is it enough? Tebow coming out of the clone. Does he have the Spirit Link available though? 150,000 HP. The Frozen Orb coming out. 100,000, 90,000, 60,000, 30,000 dead.
Wow, he just barely, he died in the midst of that gateway there, and that's going to bring Say GG Please to a 2-0 victory here against Haxan Cleave. That was an intense last few seconds there. Every single cooldown, I think, was available and used, except for, I think Spirit Link was still on cooldown, but everything else came out of Haxan Cleave at that end moment there, and unfortunately, it just barely was not quite enough for Haxan to be able to survive. So that is unfortunately going to be the exit for them from this tournament. Say GG Please will move on in the lower bracket.
Yep. A really well played game from the Shatter play here, taking that very convincingly, realizing how many defensive cooldowns are available to haxan, like overextending him so that his shaman has to push in and then gets crowd control, disorienting roar, silence, clone, poly, fear, just a plethora of CC that he can't avoid because of his warrior needing to overextend to do damage, but at the same time doesn't want to die. So it's
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was just so much CC coming out from that team.
Yeah, and I'm just going to be talking to the next team as soon as possible if they are on.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and take a 1-minute break real quick, and we'll be right back.
Goes down!
All right, and we are back. Just trying to get the next match set up here. I believe it will be, and correct me if I'm wrong, it'll be Welcome to EU versus Holinka Plays Lock Shaman.
Yep, that is correct. The Holy Paladin Shatter play coming in 3rd place, I want to say. Am I incorrect on this? Preliminary qualifiers?
I'm trying to remember. I believe you're correct. Let me look again real quick. Yes. Holinka Plays Lock Shaman. That was Banana Split, Healing Stat, and Shake Milk. They were coming in 3rd place at the preliminaries last week, outliving the team that, or one of the teams that beat them, which was Blind This All.
Yep.
So
able to persevere through that, but I have both teams ready to go.
Okay.
So we're going to be jumping right into that next series. Holy Paladin Shatter play going against LSD. Definitely in the matchup, I favor the LSD just based on the fact that they don't have Tremor Totem